in their veins. Mackey and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
In the Minnesota sports media scene, fans are represented by two different yet equally important groups. The homers who affiliate with positivity and don't like to have fun, and the realists who prosecute the offenders and recklessly speculate. These are their ideas.
Just want to put that disclaimer here on Mackey and Judd on NBA Free Agency Day. Have you guys ever, can you remember a more just fruitful and fun and speculative period, the way that the sports calendars have blessed us here?
It hit me last week. The week that was into today, in 10 years, a 30 for 30.
It should be.
Because, it's never going to occur again, hopefully, right?
Well, think about it. I hope it does. The NBA and the NHL should definitely get out of the NFL season. Start your seasons on Christmas and just have it all coincide.
I'm just saying, I don't want COVID back, but it caused this.
Well,
and we will have, and you could put, you had the baseball trade deadline. You had free agency in hockey. Today, basketball. Football training camp is in full swing. Think about this.
It's a blast. And nobody is better equipped to entertain you like Mackey and Judd and our executive producer, Declan Goff. We want titles, and so everything. Now, I preface by saying we want titles. I'm going to provide you guys a list of 5 realistic names to watch in Timberwolves free agency and Timberwolves potential trades. I don't know if these 5 names align ultimately with championship, thus the word realistic. Okay?
All right. Do they align with playoff berth?
They might align with 10 seed, all right?
Okay.
And that's really where we're trying to go. Sometimes there's steps to be taken before championship, right?
Yeah, don't go too fast.
Okay.
You'll fall, skin your knee.
It feels like, just a quick update, because I think a lot of people are probably wondering, all right, what the hell happened to all the Ben Simmons stuff? Wasn't John Collins going to be in the mix for a Wolves trade? And, Miles Turner. So even Pascal Siakam's name has been thrown out there. Those are, 4 of the big name sort of, if you landed any of those guys, that would be a huge, and kept your core 3 guys intact. That would be amazing. A couple updates on that front. So the Sixers are still asking for, according to reports, 3 to 4 future first-round picks, additional pick swaps, and an established player. And so it kind of feels like the Timberwolves and other teams have said, we're interested in Ben Simmons, but you guys, he missed all of his free throws in the postseason. He refused to shoot in the fourth quarter. So, no, we're not going to give up 4 future you're not getting a James Harden return for a guy that can't shoot, okay?
Yes.
The Knicks and Tom Thibodeau reportedly making a push for Miles Turner as of the last couple of days in Indiana, but I don't think anyone really knows if the Pacers are they coming? Are they going? Are they trading? Are they blowing up the nucleus? No one really knows what they're doing.
I think they're trying to win now, though.
Yeah, and so why would you you're only going to trade Miles Turner for something that will help you win?
I think they're going to try and win now again.
So I don't know. So for right now, it sort of seems all quiet on the Ben Simmons, John Collins, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner front, which is kind of a buzzkill. But I got 5 other names for you guys.
Reckless speculation knows no rest on a Monday.
All right. If I could get some appropriate music here, just to get into the right headspace.
Are we cool with films music? NFL, or is that
I think
fine?
I think always NFL films music.
Always films.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Whenever we're ranking things, I think we're.
We need I'm just trying to think a basketball instrumental bed that could work.
Yeah, I was gonna say. There's some basketball beds.
Yeah.
Basketball, gimme the ball so that I can go dunk it.
Recklessly speculate. Give me 5 names I want to hear right now.
All right, these 5 names are presented by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. In fact, the Timberwolves have helped, due to their sponsorship and support, they've helped Federated and the Federated Challenge raise millions and millions of dollars for Big Brothers Big Sisters. So a great cause. The Timberwolves are always on the ground level doing great work, fundraising, helping to build the community in the Twin Cities. They've helped raise $41 million since 2005 with the Federated Challenge and Federated Insurance. So some great things happening there. And you can find out more about Federated at federatedinsurance.com, bigbrothersbigsisters.org. I digress. the number one name to watch, in no particular order here, but just like the first name on my list.
Yeah.
So the Wolves have about $8 million to spend below the luxury tax line right now. If they're signing free agents, they can use that money on either their own free agent, so Jared Vanderbilt, Jordan McLaughlin, those are I believe restricted free agents now, or they can sign a guy to a mid-level exception type deal, so something in that whatever $5, $6, $7, $8 million range, or they could do trades. Lauri Markkanen reportedly, and I just read an article by John Hollinger this morning, he's linking Timberwolves to Lauri Markkanen. So this would have to be a sign and trade. Markkanen is 7 feet tall. He shoots threes better than most 7-footers not named Karl Anthony Towns. He's not a rim protector in any sense of the word. And for a guy that's 7 feet tall, he's terrible at rebounding. But he's a really good offensive player, and he would add some size. You'd basically just have like another sniper shooter who's 7 feet tall, can guard a couple positions, but defense and rim protection are not going to be at all things that he brings to the table. So Lauri Markkanen as just a 7-foot sniper, sort of perimeter big man to go along with Karl Anthony Towns. And you'd have like 14 feet of 3-point shooters in those two guys.
So Dukes has brought up his name for probably a month now as just a possibility, but I guess my question is this. Isn't this team trying to find big men who are competent inside and can rebound and play tough inside? So like, does this?
I mean, there's two ways to beat a team, Judd. You can hold them. You can hold them down defensively, or you can just score 200 points.
But we are talking about a team that is in dire need of defensive help. So to me, this sounds like fun because you can shoot from the outside. But I don't know if it gets you where you want to go. I think if we're talking about this 10 seed, we are talking about definitely a shift in your defensive philosophy, and probably that includes some guys who come here and, let's see, how can I say this nicely, like to play defense.
Yeah.
So
I'm just envisioning the death lineup,
do you like
quote
this?
unquote, the offensive death lineup of Lauri Markkanen, Karl Anthony Towns, just 14 feet of sniper 3-point shooters. And then you'd have.
I love how you put them together like they're just one huge man reaching the scoreboard, like those guys that those big things they blow
Wacky
up
waving
and blow.
arm too, man.
Yeah, they blow around. Look at how big those two are! Oh my God!
Will we score 140 points, or will we allow 160 points?
I mean, imagine Markkanen on Towns' shoulders, just unblockable, shooting threes. They wouldn't they wouldn't go inside if they were.
But what if
staggered.
they did? Then that's the threat. That's the threat. Think about that inside.
So you'd have Markkanen, Towns just shooting threes from everywhere. You'd have Malik Beasley. He would be your sixth man basically. But then you'd have D'Lo. Actually, your death lineup would include, it would be D'Lo, your offensive death lineup, D'Lo, Beasley, Ant, Markkanen, Cat. And you'd give up 170 points, but it would be so much fun.
It sounds like a wrestling staple. The death lineup.
The death lineup, it's good.
Wasn't that what they called the Warriors lineup from a few years ago? And it was like, they played small ball and like Iguodala was their center and they were unguardable. So Lauri Markkanen, number one name here, realistic names to watch today, tomorrow, as the free agency period continues. Number two, this name popped up last week, still out there. It would be a trade. Danilo Gallinari. He's got 2 years, $42 million left on his contract in Atlanta. Atlanta can't keep all their pieces. They've got, they had a nice run of the Eastern Conference Finals, but the reason why you keep hearing John Collins, why you keep hearing Gallinari is because they need to shuffle some things around financially. He's not a rim protector. Again, a little bit.
Talked about him last week. Yep,
but
he doesn't like defense.
But here's the thing: I would put him in a different defensive category than Markkanen. Not that he's not like lockdown defensive player of the year material, but because he can play like 3 different positions, maybe 4 depending on your lineup. He can guard different positions. He's a better defender than Markkanen. He's also a sniper shooter. I want to say he's like going to be 33 years old, so he doesn't quite fit the window.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
But he's under contract for a couple more years. If it's between Markkanen and Gallinari, I would prefer Gallinari. I think Gallinari brings more to the table. He's just more established, has played in bigger games. So give me between those two, give me Gallinari. He's more expensive, but that's my thought.
What's the price tag for his contract? Do you have it?
2 years, $42 million. So you'd have to send. You wouldn't have to match it because you could absorb some of that contract into the $8 million you have under the luxury tax. But you'd probably have to send. I mean, that's the thing. Like if the Hawks want to keep winning, you'd have to send them something. Like could you send them Torian Prince, who's at $13 million, and a pick or something? It would help give them some cap relief. But you'd upgrade players. I haven't thought through like the exact mechanics of the trade yet, but you could get him without giving up one of your 3 best players. And if you could keep Beasley, that would be probably even better for you. But Gallinari. All right, the third one here. This gets more into what I just want offense. I don't even care. Like you guys all want to protect the rim.
I
just
want the
Globetrotters.
Yeah. You basically just want that da-da-da-da-da-da.
I just want the fun league pass team. I want like the Warriors from like 12 years ago. But the third name on my list here is Raptors big man Chris Boucher. Okay, so he was on nobody's radar like 3 years ago, but he's 28 years old. He has 1 year, $7 million left on his contract in Toronto, and he blocks a ton of shots. He's like a 6'9" power forward who probably plays even a little bit bigger than that. You could put him next to Towns as a rim protector, and the bonus is he shot 38% from three-point range last year on like 3.5 attempts. So he protects the rim and he shoots threes. You know, he's probably like a 20, 25 minutes a game guy to start off with. But he would be a decent compliment. And like I said, he's only 28 years old. Not a household name. But, you know, the Raptors look like they're kind of going into rebuild mode. We'll see what happens with this Kyle Lowry stuff today. But Chris Boucher would be interesting. You'd have to give up something, but he only has 1 year left. And the Raptors, like, if they don't think they can sign him back if he hits free agency, then, you know, they're likely to move him here in the next 48 hours.
Do you want Jarrett Culver?
Do I or do they?
Do they? I'm saying, if you call him up, say, do you want Jarrett Culver? Would you like to take a Culver?
I mean, it'd have to be Culver and like a pick or something.
Sweetener,
Yeah, well,
maybe even a future first-round pick. I don't know, but
so
maybe not
the
quite that
intriguing thing with this name is that Chris Finch was an assistant coach on the Raptor staff before he got the job here. So he would know exactly what this guy can do as well, which might help. But so the first two sound like more fun and are certainly names that are far more household than Chris Boucher.
Boucher is broccoli.
Yeah, but what I will say is Boucher might be the type of guy who could fit into a team like this and bring what they don't have, which is a desire to protect the rim.
Yep. Yeah, it's like if you're keeping Beasley, not that you don't need more offense, because you definitely need guys who can shoot. Like they need upgrades around the roster, but I don't think it's a necessity that you bring in someone who can also add offensive firepower. But if he can protect the rim, and if you're going to get him open looks, he's going to shoot 40% from three as a big man. He's probably the one on here that he's not the most fun name on here, but like he's probably the name that would help you the most for what you need, right? Rim protection, defense. He'd be kind of a 3-and-D guy at a big man position. So, all right, name number 4. Again, this is more broccoli. He's a free agent, but you could probably sign him for the mid-level exception. JaMychal Green. All right, JaMychal Green.
Yeah.
He's 31 years old. He's a power forward. He can shoot, block some shots. The one thing that's really interesting to me is he's kind of bounced around, but he's been with Denver, the Clippers, Memphis, I believe. 50 career playoff games, mostly with Denver and the Clippers over the past handful of years. So he just kind of brings an element of, I've played in big games, and I know how this is supposed to feel. I know
what I'm doing, and you don't, so I can help you.
Yeah. I mean, he's not just a guy that like got some garbage time minutes. Like this was a dude that was, putting up 12, 15 points in playoff games, playing 20, 30 minutes for the Clippers and whatnot. So JaMychal Green, again, not a household name, but a guy that could come in here and be a really good compliment for 20 minutes a night to Karl Anthony Towns, help block some shots, and just take some pressure off. Broccoli, asparagus.
Not sexy, but I do like it. But here's my question about the type of broccoli. Is this the broccoli that's been shoved back in the bottom drawer of the fridge for a while, and it's sort of borderline? You're like, man, should we use this broccoli?
No, what? No.
Or is it at the top shelf? The
sounds
good
awfully
stuff that you
commercial.
just brought home.
I have a middle tier of what you're trying to say. There's top shelf broccoli, there's moldy broccoli, and then there's the easy, steamable, microwavable broccoli. That's what we're looking at here.
Right.
The steamable,
Okay.
processed, microwave broccoli.
It's not moldy yet. My point is, it's sort of borderline. You're like, I don't know about this.
No, this is no. He is. I think he's definitely fresh broccoli still. Okay.
Okay, so we're okay. All right, so it's good broccoli. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's games last.
I like broccoli,
pulled up his game log last year too. I mean, he'll drop 15 or 20 points a handful of times a month. He'll grab some rebounds, block a couple shots, shoot some threes. Like you need a professional that can come in here and just play like 20 professional minutes, right?
Let me remind you, though, that you were very excited about the acquisition last season of one Ed Davis, telling me what a professional he was going to be and how he was going to bring in a professional's demeanor, which he did in the locker room. Unfortunately, Ed had nothing left in the tank.
I was hacked, I swear to
God.
God.
So that's what I'm asking about the broccoli for. I need to know. That broccoli, you told me, this is good broccoli, and I was sick for a week.
I think Ed Davis fell into the category. It's like when the Twins brought Matt Greer back or whatever to be a
Jason
locker room leader, right? It's
Jason
like
Bartlett?
Jason Kubel. It's like, well, those guys have to be able to play, right? If
Yes,
you can't play,
exactly.
you can't lead.
Yes.
So, all right, and then the fifth name, and this is borderline realistic, is I think if he's going to go play somewhere else, which he's been with the Spurs the last 4 years, and he's 35 years old. This would be great for the Timberwolves, but I think he's going to want to go win a championship because I don't think he has one yet. Rudy Gay is a free agent. He's 35 years old, and like some people think still the 10 years ago version of Rudy Gay when Memphis and maybe some other teams were trying to like build a team around him and he was a volume scorer and but since he's kind of fallen into his own complementary role, he's a guy that he can guard multiple positions. He's a solid two-way player. You could play him at power forward. He's a little undersized, but like he works. He plays defense. He shoots well now, better than he did 10 years ago. But I also think he's made $100+ million playing basketball. He could probably just go sign with the Lakers for a veteran's minimum contract. Yeah. I think if like the Timberwolves would probably give him a lot more money than some other teams would. I just don't know if he's going to want to play for a team that can't win a championship this upcoming season. So, but I put him on the list because it would be great to have a guy like that in the starting lineup for the Timberwolves. Rudy Gay.
So if you take those 5 names and rank them 1 through 5 in terms of your most desirable to least, how would you rank them?
Let me throw 2 bonus names in too, just for fun, and then I'll answer your question. I've seen Doug McDermott's name floated in the Timberwolves blogosphere.
And
Dougie
Dougie
McBuckets
has thrown him out a lot. Yes,
he's so he fits the like he's in his late 20s, so he kind of fits more like the age that you're looking for. He's a great shooter, but again, like, I don't know if I want to give like a chunk of my mid-level exception to a guy that's not going to play any defense unless it's like a legit, really good player like Gallinari. If I'm going to go no defense, give me. And Gallinari can play some defense, so I'm probably putting him in the wrong bin there. I would say, and then another name that pops up is Tori Craig, the guy that played for both the Suns and the Bucks this year. He finished the season, I believe, with the Suns. And he's 30 years old, 3-and-D guy. He's a free agent, more of a small forward, but that's another name I've seen sort of connected with the Timberwolves. But I would say Chris Boucher is number 1 on this list for me, because I just think he can shoot, but he can block shots. Like, he just feels like a perfect fit with what you're trying to do. I would put Gallinari second because I think he's just the best overall player on this list. And then I would probably put Rudy Gay third, even though he's 35 years old and he's much less of a realistic acquisition because he probably wants to win a championship.
Sure.
And then, so then it's basically JaMychal Green or Lauri Markkanen. I'm gonna go Markkanen because it'd be fun. Just a couple praying mantises out there shooting 3-pointers. And then JaMychal Green.
Your desire to throw basketball caution to the wind just to shoot three-pointers is admirable.
I will say a lot of people are going to listen to this and say, no, JaMychal Green should be number one because he's probably the most realistic to acquire. But you know what? I'm here for the league pass fun too. All right, I'm here for the league pass fun.
Yes, it's quite clear.
Very clear.
from your Towns Markkanen combination of two guys just going down the court. These huge man.
So, question for you guys. All right, let's say, because we've sort of been anticipating something big, right? A big trade, a Ben Simmons, and Gerson Rosas, friend of the show, has not been shy about saying, "I want to shoot high. I want to get someone in here who can make a difference, like a superstar." So if they've moved from like the Ben Simmons, even Miles Turner, John Collins part of the discussion, down to like a second or third tier, and that's where they're operating, would you guys be wildly disappointed, or would it just be, well, that's probably realistic if you want to hang on to the three core guys that you already have?
Dex, go ahead.
It's tough because I don't see them breaking up. Yeah, the big three there, or their big three, I should say. It's really not like a insanely talked about big three, but I think the best way to go about
it's a three. We think it's a big three.
It's a three. It's a three.
It's insanely talked about. It's a good. I like that phrase. Insanely talked about.
But
right.
I think it's more realistic that they are going to have to go with this mid-level exception or try to find something like to get savvy. Like you're basically going to have to play like an old. I don't want to make it like a Terry Ryan thing, but you're going to have to get cute. Like you're going to have to get really creative with how you want to get this acquisition, because I just don't see them now pulling off a big move for like Ben Simmons, or even like John Collins would be my preferred one. I think that even that would be like the number one guy I want the most, but the path doesn't really seem that realistic to me.
Yeah. I smell a trade of some sort coming though. I think he's going to do. Do you smell?
Are you sure you're not just gassy?
Well, it's been a long weekend, so that's very possible. God. That's very, very possible. That's a whole different topic. I smell a trade coming because Gerson, keep in mind, didn't do anything at the deadline, and this man loves to trade. I don't think it's probably going to be as big and substantial as we at first thought, but I think he's going to do more than we think now. I think he's going to do something that's going to definitely change the dynamic and bring in a guy that Chris Finch probably likes. I think Beasley's in trouble here. Just as far as, I don't know if Finch likes him. He's had off the court problems, and I know that they inked him to the extension after he got in trouble, which is sort of weird. But I don't know if he's going to be a guy that Finch wants to keep around. I would not be surprised if Beasley is the biggest name involved in a trade that is not huge, but substantial.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful not just giving him away, though, because he's such a good,
I don't think they'll give him away, but
offensive player.
But I think they'll convince a team, hey, look at the stats, look at what he can do, and privately say, let's get him off the roster. Because there has to be some type of chemistry as well. And I mean, his off-the-court stuff, it's not a good look. It's not great. I don't know how reliable that makes him. So I could see him being used not just basically to be jettisoned, but him being used as the primary chip in a decent-sized trade.
Yeah. Well, we know the Timberwolves are hiring. They're hiring rim protectors. They're hiring guys who can make shots, right? Guys who can help them get back to the playoffs. Well, Burnsville Heating and Air is also hiring. So they've got all kinds of HVAC construction sites, or construction sites that are looking for HVAC installation, I should say. And they're hiring full-time workers and giving up to $2,000 sign-on bonuses. Now, we've already been tipped off that a few of you guys have applied for jobs or have gone through the interview process, and that's awesome because you heard about it through our show. So don't sleep on this if you don't want these spots to fill up as you hem and haw. So go to burnsvilleheating.com and click careers. They'll find you a job site within 10 to 20 minutes of your home. And again, it's full-time, year-round work with a lot of opportunities for overtime as well. And even if you've done nothing at all in terms of HVAC installation, they'll hire you as an apprentice. Like if you're Judd, basically, and you've done nothing.
I get a sign-on bonus.
Well, they'd have to train you for like 5 years to work on one of those sites.
Willing.
Well, you know what? Okay. Let's say 3 years, and then I get my sign-on bonus.
Yeah, there you go. So BurnsvilleHeating.com and click careers. So, all right.
5 years of training.
Judge just, am I ready to hold a hammer yet?
All right, come back tomorrow. We'll try it again. Those nails are a little tough for you, Judd.
So, all right. Any other final thoughts here? This is kind of our final, free agency Timberwolves offseason preview before
Yes, I've
things
got one.
actually start happening.
If the Wolves don't make a big move, because what Dex and I think, okay, but we know there's only one true Timberwolves fan on this show, a man who, since he was a youngster, has aspired to see the LOB trophy at Target Center, which of course it's not been. If the Wolves don't do something substantial, or the Metrodome where they spent their first year, and I went to a bunch of games and couldn't see, how disappointed are you going to be?
I mean, if they wind up, I'm not going to be crushed because I really like what they have going with Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. D'Lo looked really good the last month and a half too after the knee surgery, and so for me, they definitely get a year for that nucleus to be healthy and see what they can do together. But they need, at minimum, they need to add a couple of pieces that are professional rim protectors, 3-and-D guys, bare minimum, somebody that helps you just get better and somebody that just makes your rotation more viable. But God, it would be amazing if they landed John Collins or somebody like that. It would be, without giving up one of those three players. It would be a blast. So it would be a little bit of a buzzkill, but this team needs to eat its vegetables, man. If JaMychal Green is one of the moves, all right, let's eat some asparagus. Let's get better on defense. Yeah.
Who's Carrots?
Carrots.
More of a Brussels sprouts guy, personally.
Well, okay, that too. I'm just saying, if
PJ Tucker is available, he would be Carrots.
Well, I like PJ Tucker a lot.
Then you like carrots.
I do like carrots.
No, he's your carrots.
But
I love
PJ Tucker,
carrots.
First of all, he's 36.
He wouldn't come here.
I know that he's kind of a power forward. He's
I think he still wants to win.
I don't know.
Yeah,
if he,
but I like him a lot. I like how he plays.
I liked him 3 years ago, and I liked him. I liked him a lot less this year.
He's not the type of guy though that you want to bring here and rely on completely. I think he's I think he's a great supplemental piece on a team that's close, like the Bucks
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
But you can't then plant him here and be like, do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the problem with a lot of teams.
I agree with that.
Reckless speculation.
All right, this has been your dose of reckless speculation Thursday on a Monday. Happy Timberwolves free agency day. We're going to take a deep breath and come back with some statements on this Monday. Mackey and Judd, Daily Minnesota Sports Entertainment.